Here are 10 valuable life lessons I learned after reading Benjamin Franklin's autobiography. Lesson 1. Be good at different things. Benjamin Franklin was a scientist, a diplomat, a writer, a business person, a public servant, and a politician as well. As a scientist, he made useful things like the lightning rod and the Franklin stove, both of which were remarkable innovations of the time. As a public servant, he built hospitals, developed local infrastructure, and laid the foundation of the present US postal system. He played a big role in starting the University of Pennsylvania as well. As a diplomat, he signed important papers like the Declaration of Independence and the US Constitution. He was smart in business too. As a writer, people loved his letters, and even people like Elon Musk praise his autobiography.
I'm a big fan of Ben Franklin, who's a scientist and sort of thinker. And he was kind of guy who did what needed to be done.
He did not stick to just one job. He tried many things, and each one helped him to become the remarkable person he was. Lesson 2. Embrace practical experiences early. Benjamin Franklin started working in his father's business when he was just 10 years old. He did tasks like making soap and running errands at the family shop. The lesson here is that many people wait until their late 20s to start working, focusing only on studies. In some cultures, parents do everything for their kids in their early years, making them dependent and weak. Even though learning is important and should continue throughout life, it is good to start doing valuable things you like as early as you can. Lesson 3. Read books. Even when he did not have much money as a young person, he spent all his spare cash on buying books, especially ones like Plutarch's Lives. Reading a lot helped him learn and think more. His dad then helped him get a job in his brother's printing shop, which made him even more interested in reading books. Sometimes he would borrow a book for just one night and read the whole thing because he had to give it back the next morning. And he kept up this habit of reading his whole life, setting aside time in the mornings and on Sundays just for reading. Lesson 4. Practice temperance in eating and drinking. Franklin chose to eat just enough to keep his body healthy, and he made a deliberate decision to eat less. Later on, he found out about the advantages of a vegetarian diet from a book by Thomas Tryon and decided to try it. According to Franklin, eating less and choosing vegetarian food helped him stay mentally alert and physically active. He noticed that while his colleagues got tired and slow after big meals and drinks, he could use that time for working and reading. Lesson 5. Embrace the Socratic method in conversation. In simple terms, the Socratic method is about asking questions in a way that makes the answer support the questioner's position or show the opponent's mistake. It is a bit technical, and I will explore it more for you in another episode in detail. Benjamin Franklin learned about this method from Xenophon's Memorable Things of Socrates. It changed his approach from being stubborn to being humble and curious. Instead of forcefully arguing, he started expressing his ideas modestly, avoiding strong words and valuing a thoughtful, humble conversation. Franklin believed that the point of talking with someone is to learn and share knowledge, not just to defend one's own ideas. Lesson 6. Value learning more than seeking praise. So the story goes like this. When Franklin was young, he worked in his brother's printing shop, and they were starting a newspaper. He wanted to write articles for the newspaper, but feared that he would be rejected for being too young. So he wrote an article and mixed it with other articles, and he did not mention a name under it. The next day, he saw the editorial team praising the article, and it was published. Seeing this, he kept writing by submitting more articles anonymously. He did not claim any credit or money for writing those, and the activity polished his writing skills significantly. So the story teaches us that learning matters more than claiming credit or gathering praise. It also shows that even small tasks can be useful later in life. Lesson 7. Be industrious and frugal. He mentions two principles that made him wealthy: industry and frugality. frugality. Industry means hard work ethic, commitment to achieving goals, and being selectively engaged in productive activities. This is how a person can excel in life, earn money, and build assets. Frugality means avoiding wastefulness in expenses. A frugal person is mindful of expenses, seeks efficiency in spending, and makes prudent choices to maximize value and minimize waste. Frugality is often associated with simplicity and the avoidance of unnecessary extravagance. So, while people become rich by industry, they remain rich through frugality. Lesson 8. Write a journal. Benjamin Franklin had a daily habit of writing in detail about everything that happened during his day. This habit turned into a helpful tool when he wrote his autobiography later in life. Each day he jotted down lessons he learned, making him more aware of his behavior. In his journal, he had a special section called Plan, where he wrote principles to guide how he should live, and he stuck to those principles. Journaling, like Franklin did, has many benefits. It helps us keep track of our lives, clears our minds, lets us process our thoughts, and actively think about the lessons we have learned. Lesson 9. Keep good company. He was very mindful about the people who surrounded him, that is, his friends. When I read his autobiography, I noticed he did not have many friends, and he spent most of his time working or reading. It is not that he could not talk to people, but he only let a few people become his friends. In his early 20s, he gathered close and like-minded friends and started a club for making each other better. They met on every Friday, and every member took turns to raise questions about morals, politics, and philosophy for further discussion. Every member had to write and submit an essay every 3 months on any subject they liked. Therefore, he not only had good friends, but also worked to keep getting smarter through positive talks and writing. Lesson 10. How to acquire good habits. After many experiences in reading, Benjamin Franklin created a list of 13 virtues that included temperance, silence, order, resolution, frugality, industry, sincerity, justice, moderation, cleanliness, tranquility, chastity, and humility. He attached short descriptions to each to explain what they meant. Facing the challenge of how to adopt all of these virtues, he decided to focus on one at a time. He created a daily routine where he examined his commitment to each virtue, marking any lapses with a spot. If he cleared a week without spots in a virtues column, he considered that habit mastered and moved on to the next. This systematic approach allowed him to significantly improve his personal character, and over time, he added more virtues to his list. If you want to learn more about him, I highly recommend reading Benjamin Franklin's autobiography titled The Autobiography of Benjamin Franklin. Take your time with it and be sure to highlight the valuable lessons you glean from his life experiences. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments if these lessons benefited you, and do share your experiences once you have had a chance to read his autobiography. Lastly, do not forget to pass on this episode to someone who might find it insightful.